I'm Dana Jacobson from CBS Saturday Morning. Welcome to The Dish. For a restaurant, there is no higher honor than earning a prestigious Michelin star, awarded to only the finest dining experiences in the world by, yes, the same company that makes the tires. Today, we stop in for a taste at 4 Michelin-starred establishments. We're off to England for an extravagant 15-course tasting menu created from the freshest local ingredients. And then, at Norway's best restaurant, reservations must be made months in advance for a meal that lasts up to 4 hours. But first, we visit the Big Apple, a city home to more than 70 Michelin-star restaurants as of 2022. Alfred Portale was executive chef at one of New York City's top eateries for nearly 4 decades, before returning to his Italian roots when he opened a place of his own. I joined him at the table to discuss his cooking and vision for his namesake restaurant, Portale.
After more than 3 decades as executive chef and partner of New York's iconic Gotham Bar and Grill, Portale knows a thing or two about mistakes and even more about successes. The James Beard Award winner's latest venture is also his first solo endeavor, his namesake, Portale.
What is the pressure then like when you say, okay, leaving that, I'm going to start this? You didn't think about that before you did it.
I did think about it.
What did you want that restaurant to be?
I wanted it to be many things. I wanted it to be an expression of myself. I tried to create a very chic and sort of sexy and fun and lively place.
For the food, he turned to a combination of his personal and culinary past.
Both of my grandparents are from Sicily, actually, but all my training is French. Sort of the bold passion of Italy and the precision of French cooking, that's how we look at it.
I guess Italian food is in your blood, is that?
Yes, big Italian-American family, lots of cousins. My mother was an excellent cook.
Her red sauce turned into your white sauce, is that right?
Oh, that's funny. My mom used to make a big pot of red sauce with the meatballs and brajol and all the, I carry on that tradition. You know, I've tweaked them over the years. It's a white bolognese, so made with short rib and some black truffle. It's a nice dish. My whole career, I've always looked for classic dishes, classic flavor combinations, and tried to give it a personal touch.
That kind of creative expression, part of what drew Portale to cooking in the first place.
From an early childhood, I wanted to be an artist. You know, it started with a next-door neighbor who was a painter and used to give me art lessons when I must have been 8 years old, 9 years old.
What did you love about it?
You know, it's just the creative aspect of it, being able to design and express yourself that way. Yeah. Somehow I was turned on to cooking through some old French cookbooks that had illustrations of these big elaborate buffets that they used to do in the 20s and 30s. And I said, this is edible art.
Which is exactly what Portale would go on to create, building a following and reputation with his masterpieces at Gotham Bar and Grill. At Portale, his creative touch is still found in the architecture of the food, but also in the space itself.
I had a great deal to do with the design, the integration of art and music, all sort of with a postmodern sort of vibe to it. Cooking I relate it to art in some ways because, you know, it's instant gratification. So you create a wonderful dish and get it into production and serve it to a guest. I mean, I think that's the reward.
Much of Portale's staff is more like family after so many years of working together. And it was family he thought of when I asked him our traditional dish question.
If you could have this meal with anyone past or present,
oh, wow,
who would it be?
You know, we spoke about her earlier, and I thought about her a lot. I do miss my mom. You know, she was important.
Did she get to see a lot of your success?
Yeah, they did, actually. You know, God bless them, they lived into their 90s. But yeah, came to New York, came to Gotham on a number of occasions, but always kept me really well grounded. You know, I'd go like, Mom, you know, I'm on TV. Or, you know,
I get it.
We just got 3 stars from the New York Times.
You didn't call me last week, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
What would she think of the white sauce?
Oh, God. Well, I think she'd be skeptical at first, but once she tasted it, maybe.
Nice.
I think I'd win it over.
Ahead, we visit the rich English farms helping to supply one of the country's best restaurants. Boasting 3 Michelin stars, Lancôme has also been named the best restaurant in England 6 times. Acclaimed chef Simon Rogan creates his culinary magic literally from the ground up. Jeff Glor explores why the quality of the produce is even more important to Rogan than how it's prepared.
Visiting the small village of Cartmel in northern England is a bit like taking a step back in time. Narrow, winding roads wrap around stone buildings erected in the Middle Ages. Inside one of those buildings is a restaurant called Lancôme, or the Anvil.
People say to us when they come here, who did your interior design? Well, it did itself. It's not changed since the 13th century.
At Lancôme, a carefully choreographed team of cooks start early in the morning, executing the vision of a man whose extravagant tasting dinners have become a modern-day masterpiece. Simon Rogan, the chef, never afraid to bite off as much as you can possibly chew.
10 years ago, this was nothing.
2011, we entered an empty field and thought this would be a perfect location for our new facility.
Unsatisfied with the produce he was receiving at Lancôme,
We'll take some of these tomorrow for the cabbage dish that we're going to do.
Rogan cut out the middleman and built his own farm.
Oh, blimey.
Sharp.
Yeah, sharp, yeah, powerful. Even the thing like a radish, having the perfect radish, which is so easy to grow, was reaching us in such poor quality. So that's how we started farming, growing radishes.
And that's what this allows you. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, look at
Well, things progressed, and then it moved on to roots, carrots, turnips, all sorts of kales, lettuces. I mean, there's nothing we don't grow now.
Rogan says that how something is grown is more important than how it's cooked.
You just pick off, and that's a real hit of anise flavour. Packs a punch.
Yeah, it does.
Does, huh?
That said, the cooking that takes place inside Lancôme is about as elevated as it gets. The tasting menus consist of anywhere between 15 to 18 courses.
And we've got some little spinach leaves, which are lovely and juicy. It's called New Zealand spinach.
What was the idea behind making the menu just a tasting menu?
Well, I always like taste. It's the way that I like to eat myself. As many little tastes and textures as possible within a meal. I like to see a lot of different variation and an interesting technique. So just a bit of a performance and really showcasing what we've got around us and what techniques we have, really.
The technical detail and precision put into every plating is remarkable to watch, eat, and given the elaborate displays, describe. But here's a small sampling.
Dish number 1.
Okay, so we like to start off the meal with a series of little snacks just to get the taste buds going. So this one is a little tartlet made from dehydrated gooseberry juice.
The gooseberry juice tartlet is filled with lobster tail dressed in an emulsion of the lobster head, rosehip puree, and chopped cherry bell radishes.
There's layers.
That's the thing, is making something that looks so simple have that X factor.
Delicious.
Next up was a fritter of smoked eel and confit pork in an onion tapioca crumb with fermented sweet corn dusted with lavage powder. Pachysandra cucumbers compressed in calamint, raw scallops, and pickled elderflower.
Fish and shellfish is the only thing that we can't actually create ourselves. If we could, we would, but we leave it to the experts, that side of things.
Zucchini roasted in yeast and fennel pollen, pickled quail eggs, and herbs. Grilled cabbage cooked in buttermilk and served with hen of the woods mushrooms, horseradish, and Welsh truffles. Turbot with kale leaves and smoked roe, bay sea vegetables, and a sauce made from mussel stock, sour cream, and gooseberries. And finally, the Anvil, Rogan's signature dessert. Caramel mousse flavored with homemade miso, sprayed with bronze, and sitting on a bed of caramelized apples.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Layers again. Oh boy, delicious.
Since opening Lancôme in 2001, Simon Rogan has expanded. There's now a chef's tasting room next door, plus his one Michelin star casual location down the street. He's also opened a spot in London and 2 in Hong Kong. He has his eyes on New York City next. If history is any guide, America is in for something exquisite.
I mean, it's been an amazing journey. And I've got an amazing team around me that enable me to look at new projects and see the world a bit more, which is what being a chef's all about, is getting out there, experiencing the world and experiencing different cultures.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Far from England, along the central coast of California, you'll find another Michelin-recognized farm-to-table restaurant. The married couple behind Bell's serve up a French-inspired menu featuring bold flavors available locally. Jamie Wax tries a bite of their French concept, a fusion of French techniques and ranch-fresh ingredients.
The term farm-to-table is overused in the restaurant business, but it's an actual description of Chef Daisy Ryan's daily commute.
Daisy, this is where you start your morning, here at Finley Farms.
The Finleys surprise me every day.
What's surprising you today?
Lately, we've had these really beautiful blackberries.
I mean, largest I've ever seen, truly, blackberries that are grown here on Finley Farms.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
It really is.
Awesome, right?
So good.
That fresh produce from California's Central Coast is also central to the dishes served by Chef Ryan and her husband Greg at their French-inspired bistro Bell's,
Uni, terrine, tartare.
which serves a cuisine they jokingly refer to as French.
It's French and ranch.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's as rural as can be,
Yeah.
and what's fresh, but it also has a little touch of French in it.
It is a good descriptor for what we do because there hopefully is a perceived level of finesse and sophistication and maybe a little bit more fine dining in the way that we do things. However, there is still this simplicity, not necessarily rustic, but something that is not quite so pomp and circumstance about the food.
And we got to sample some of it, starting with escargot cooked with parsley, pernod, garlic, and butter.
This is the most, I will say, herbaceous and garlicky, like in the best way, escargot I ever had my whole life.
Thank you.
I can't wait to eat it again. And I'm gonna soak all the rest of it up with this bread.
Also on the table, uni crepe, a Santa Barbara sea urchin on layered crepes with creme fraiche topped with caviar.
This is a perfect bite. I mean, this really is.
And this is how everybody starts their meal at dinner. We do a small bite of this.
Steak au poivre, crusted with peppercorn and accompanied with frites.
We talk about it being our connection and nod towards the way that we started this restaurant, in it being a very traditional French bistro.
Gorgeously medium rare. That's steak au poivre at its best. That is unbelievable.
Bell's farm fresh salad, and for dessert, champagne mousse.
This is so beautifully delicate and fluffy, but also salty. Not
Yeah.
just sweet, but salty. And that little bit of salt brings out these figs like crazy. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
The restaurant has helped transform the quaint town of Los Alamos. That's especially important to Chef Daisy, a native of the area who set out on a non-traditional career path, starting in culinary school and then in hospitality for the legendary Thomas Keller and Danny Meyer.
I loved cooking. I like the high intensity of it. There's an artistic element. It's athletic in many ways. So I always intended on cooking, but I had an instructor at the CIA that said, hey, you're really good in the dining room, and Per Se is looking for team members in the dining room.
It was at Per Se that she met her partner in life and in business.
At the heart of this is a love story about home, love story about food, and a love story between two people.
Yeah. And somebody asked me, like, what is your concept? And Greg and I kind of look at each other and go, well, it's our life. You know, it is just the things that we love and are just really excited that other people love those things too. And it's worked out nicely.
I think that's why we feel it when we're diners here.
The pair bonded in New York, then moved together to LA, Austin, and eventually back to the Santa Ynez Valley, largely because of the encouragement of the chef's parents.
I have a great relationship with my mom and dad. They're really the reason that I became interested in food and wine and restaurants. And my dad is a very ambitious person. And he's like, well, let's just buy a restaurant. Let's do something. Let's make it happen. It felt like a place that we could actually make a difference and make an impact.
And they have definitely done that. Bell's has become a dining destination, and Ryan has garnered accolades along the way, including being named Food & Wine's Best New Chef and being awarded a coveted Michelin star.
Do you remember the moment you found out?
Yeah, you become emotional just because it's not something that we ever really searched for. It's not anything that we were ambitious about, but that someone decided to acknowledge something that you did on your own terms.
You think Ritz crackers?
Both Daisy and Greg say they're anxious to use what they've learned to help others in the industry.
This restaurant is kind of this is what we have to say. Everything else that might come our way or that we decide that we want to try and do is through collaboration of others and hopefully offering them an opportunity to give them a chance to say something as well.
Up next, a culinary tour of Norway at the country's only 3-star Michelin restaurant. This is The Dish. One of Norway's finest chefs not only creates his restaurant's seasonal menus, he also designed the furniture, plates, and utensils. Nancy Chen sits down for a once-in-a-lifetime experience that reimagines Nordic cuisine at Maaemo.
Off the pristine waters of the Oslo Fjord, in the land of the midnight sun, a new age of culture is blossoming in the heart of the Norwegian capital. And behind the subtle yet grand entrance is the start of an exceptional dining experience. A doorbell is required to get into Maaemo, one of the country's most esteemed restaurants. The unexpected pairings revealed inside, constructed with exacting detail by Chef Espen Holbaugh-Bang. The restaurateur takes diners on a culinary tour of Norway with a creative menu of contemporary and hyper-seasonal dishes.
It's about finding new stuff, but also about finding the right quality, making sure that whatever comes in is just the way we want it.
Would you call your cuisine traditional Norwegian cuisine?
I don't want to call it anything really, but we're definitely inspired by traditional cuisine.
Known for enduring long winters, Norwegians relied heavily on pickling and preserving, methods they still incorporate today, even as Oslo has become a gastronomic hub and pioneering new Nordic cuisine.
It seems like there is a sort of renaissance almost happening in Oslo right now.
Absolutely, yeah. And also like the general quality is just getting better because people kind of feed off each other. Which also, the more good restaurants there are in the city, the better ingredients we can get.
Our meal at Maaemo begins with panichet, salted lamb ribs, folded into a crisp rye with foraged spring herbs.
You're going to get one bite if you can.
One bite?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. It's very flavorful.
Mm-hmm. So we get our diners in a chokehold right away.
Is that what you want?
Complete control.
The 36 visitors a night don't seem to mind handing over the reins, as they relish a set yet constantly changing menu of about 15 dishes. The dining experience in this dark and dramatic setting has been likened to a well-choreographed performance, a spectacle for this apparently easily impressed American.
Oh, this is a presentation. What are they doing? What are they doing here?
Well, they're just putting on a sauce. You don't have to get so excited about it.
I'm excited. I'm impressed. I don't think I have people just spooning out sauce in a little saucepan right in front of me very often.
The sauce, salty yet smooth, composed of mussels and dill, complement the emulsion of shucked oysters and their juices.
It's like a soothing experience, should be.
A soothing experience, okay. Oh.
It's like you have the essence of Mother Earth on your tongue.
Fitting for Maaemo, which means Mother Earth in Finnish. Holbaugh-Bang incorporates both the plentiful bounty of the Norwegian coastline, one of the world's longest, and the country's forested wilderness.
It's important that, the kitchen staff also get involved to create that sort of connection that we can kind of translate into our cooking and in the kitchen, that they respect most of all the ingredients.
And that respect, on even the most micro level, achieves maximum effect. Maaemo was named one of the world's 50 best restaurants. While Hong Bao-bang prizes the food, his philosophy behind it is much more relaxed.
Sometimes I hear chefs talking about their menus as almost stories that they tell.
I know some people say, it's a very kind of romantic, description, like walking along the water and came up with an idea, or this is my grandma, or whatever.
Yes.
Honestly, I just want to cook really good food, so I just get inspired by the ingredients and then just working with it, and then things come up. Langoustine.
Langoustine.
Also known as Norwegian lobster, it's much smaller and more delicate than its main cousin. Maaemo's is grilled over an open fire, complemented by a sauce composed of the branches of a black currant bush and its leaves.
I'm actually allergic.
You're allergic?
Yeah.
You are not allergic.
I am allergic to this. Yeah, I'll eat it sometimes. I'll get a tickle in my throat, but it's going to be fine. I feel like if I want to go out, this is the perfect time. Like, I'll die on television.
So it's worth it to have this dish. It's worth dying for. All right.
So sweet, succulent.
Oh, that's so delicious.
It is, isn't it?
There's also Norwegian comfort food, rumagret, a porridge for special occasions made of milk, sour cream, flour, and butter. Hong Bao-bang tops it with smoky shaved reindeer heart, with questionably familiar hints.
It almost tastes like bacon.
Yeah, but that's just... Come on, man. Like...
in a very nice way.
Yeah.
The delicacy, one of Maaemo's signature plates.
Eating the heart is like the essence. Blood and heart, that's like the most precious things. That's what gives the animal life. So obviously, for me, it's special to eat that.
It's not just Hong Bao-bang's reverence for food that has made Maaemo an instant success. The chef designed nearly everything inside, from the handcrafted furniture to even the way the food is consumed.
Look at this one.
You didn't design this one, did you? You designed the spoon?
Yes.
You designed the plate and you designed the spoon.
You kind of want to snap it, but you can't.
Have you tried?
No, you can do it, but please don't.
That attention to detail has been critical for the Danish chef, who was 28 when he opened Maaemo in 2010. 6 years later, it was awarded 3 Michelin stars, making him one of the youngest chefs in the world to achieve that status.
When did you realize it would be a success?
I don't know if I realized that yet. I don't know if we're a success.
Even now?
I don't know. Like
3 Michelin stars.
Yeah, you have to distance yourself a little bit from like accolades like that. The most important thing is to immerse yourself into making your guest happy. That's not a given. We need to work hard at it.
Every day.
Every day, every night.
That tireless effort, ensuring constant innovation of all this abundant land has to offer.
We just want to cook generous, good food. We get inspired by the food culture, and most of all, we get inspired by the ingredients.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Dana Jacobson. We'll see you next time for another helping of The Dish.